Yes, Samsung just unpacked its second batch of flagship products for 2025, and man, this is probably their most polarizing launch yet. I've easily spent the last 6 months covering all the rumors you can think of, and yet, let's just say most of them were true, but then the ones we didn't want to happen also kinda did. That said, how you'll feel about it highly depends on how much you care about gaining certain things and losing others, cause there's a bit of,
win some, lose some.
I'm Jaime Rivera, and let's go through my 5 hits and misses from this new Galaxy Foldable and Wearable series. So for the usual bit of context, this was filmed 2 days before Galaxy Unpacked, and at this point, Samsung is notorious for their one more thing moments after each event. So if you see any trifold being teased at the end or anything else, whatever I learn will be a story for the next tech briefing. As for what we did get briefed, let me start with design, which I call a huge hit across the board. This new Galaxy Watch 8 series is pretty hot now, gaining some of the added character it dropped on the 4 series. Both the new base and classic models adopt the cushion design we praised on the Watch Ultra, which, by the way, just got a refresh to a new shade of blue and double the storage. The base Galaxy Watch comes in 2 sizes, 40 and 44 millimeters, both made of aluminum, while the classic comes in stainless steel and sapphire, only in one size at 46 millimeters. So yeah, same design language on a far smaller footprint for anyone that didn't like the bulk of the Ultra. Each adopts Samsung's new dynamic lug system for easy replacement, NR5ATM, IP68, and even mil-spec 810H certified for added durability. The Galaxy Z Flip 7 is also pretty gorgeous. It's now slightly taller, much wider, and yet thinner, all while retaining almost the same weight. It's also more durable with an Armor aluminum frame, a redesigned Armor Flex hinge for smoother folds, Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and back, and IP48 water, and yes, dust resistance for the first time. Anyone wanting more of the old, there is the Galaxy Z Flip FE that borrows on pretty much everything the Flip 6 had, though more on that later. Once you switch to the Fold, I'd say this was probably the dream vision since version 1. Samsung made it taller, much wider, dramatically thinner at either 8.9mm when closed or 4.2 when open, and somehow managed all this while making it much lighter than even the Galaxy S25 Ultra. The company is calling this advanced Armor aluminum, making it 10% more rigid. We have Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2 in the cover, Victus 2 on the back. The ultra-thin glass on the inside is an insane 50% thicker, which match with the IP48 water and dust resistance along with the new Armor Flex hinge promises peace of mind and durability. If you're wondering what's the catch on both these foldables, trust me, stick around. Once we switch into internals, things are a hit and miss depending on what device you pick. I'm not entirely a fan of the Exynos W1000 chip on the Galaxy Watch series, though it could just be excess animations, making the Ultra I've been using feel sluggish. Their battery sizes at 325, 435, and 445 mAh are also very far from Ultra territory, so without any dual Snapdragon architecture, I won't hold my breath on endurance. That said, their 2 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage finally placed them in Apple Watch territory, making them worth any old base or classic upgrade. Maybe where I'm most torn is with the Galaxy Z Flip 7 being the first powered by Exynos. I mean, this 2500 chip does pack a punch in numbers, so much so that it'll be the first Flip to include support for DeX, so hey, it might not be a consolation after all. Upgrades in base storage and battery size are also welcome, though yeah, real-world experience will do the talking. Now, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is sort of the beast we were expecting. Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, meaning no missing cores on such a thin body, and all the typical bells and whistles you'd expect from a flagship. Now, if only the price point we'll discuss later began with 512 gigs of storage and more of the battery that Eastern competitors have brought, because these numbers are already pretty dated. As software is then another hit on my book because for the first time ever, all these Samsung Galaxies are launching with the latest version of Android out of the box in the form of One UI 8 and One UI 8 Watch. Clearly, Google's shift to pushing Android 16 earlier gave Samsung immediate benefits, as you won't have to wait until the next Pixels to try it out, even if sure you can try it on the current ones. I won't bore you with specific changes as I'll need to review them to tell you what's useful and what's not. Still, little things like Gemini being available on the Flip's Flex window or Gemini Live taking more predominant roles across devices are welcomed. We hear of improvements to photo assist and side-by-side editing when you multitask on the Fold as well, though again, we'll see how well they walk the talk. Now, in the case of the watches, having these be the first to support Gemini, along with the Now bar, and finally the use of multi-info tiles are welcomed. Now, what I'm most excited about is all the Samsung Health improvements and features like the antioxidant index we've been waiting for since last year, AI improvements to the energy score, a new running coach, etc. Sadly, once we switch into features, things are again hit or miss. The return of the rotating crown on the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic is definitely welcome, especially now with the 3-button arrangement, though yeah, too bad the base model doesn't get any of that. When it comes to the Z Flip 7, having this massive 4.1-inch outer screen is both fantastic and also ironic. It looks and feels surreal given how thin this phone is, but the problem is that, well, its support for full apps still remains at your own risk. You'll have to install GoodLock to get it to work yet again, and while it does support more app form factor designs, it automatically means it's not ready at a time when even the cheapest Razr breezes through the experience. Now, as for the Fold, we finally get a good set of cameras here, but they're sort of ultra. We have Samsung's staple 200 megapixel primary along with a better ultra-wide and telephoto performance, but yeah, don't expect 100x zoom. And listen, I also know most of you won't like the death of the under-display internal camera, but if I'm honest, I'm just happy to get more than potato quality resolution here for its most important purpose during video calls. And then there's the fact that this selfie shooter adopts a fantastic 100 degrees of field of view, which sure makes even the Ultra look bad. So, what's the catch? Well, the S Pen is dead, and sadly, the rumors of active pen support did not hold true, or at least not at the time of the launch. Samsung claims 80% of users bought S Pen cases and never used the pen, which is an odd statistic because if you consider it, that means 80% of users cared about the feature enough to pay more for it. I am one of those people. Regardless of Samsung statistics, in 2025, even the cheapest tablet supports some sort of stylus support to take full advantage of the added canvas. If Oppo and Honor could slim down their phones and offer an optional active pen, I'm sorry, but slimming down the phone is not an excuse. Listen, people rarely use features like HDMI on their laptops, and yet statistics here are not more important than delighting the consumer. Last but not least, let's talk price. I mean, it's easy to call it a miss, but to be honest, we've been bracing for it ever since the economy got so uncertain given the inconsistencies of potential trade policy changes. If anything, I thought these products would get a lot more expensive, so I gotta hand it to Samsung for juggling a few things around to save at least some of it. If this means adopting Exynos to keep the same $1,100 price tag on the Flip 7, then I get it. That said, it's hard to recommend the Z Flip FE at $900 given how you can get a Flip 7 for pretty much the same price if you were to upgrade the FE to decent storage. Yes, the watches got a tad more expensive at the starting price of $350 for the Watch 8 and $500 for the Classic, but they're still cheaper than an Apple Watch counterpart, and their new designs are a welcome boost. It's really the Z Fold 7 where I struggle the most. Listen, an extra $100 doesn't sound like much of a bump, and especially for all the crazy amount of improvements the phone received. The problem is that you can buy a lot for $2,000, so you kind of want a single product that can do everything. For years, the prospect of getting a regular phone and an iPad mini with Apple Pencil for less money were easy to debunk with the convenience of having it all in one product. So now, sadly, that's not the case anymore. To To conclude, can I just say this is probably the most mixed I've ever been with a Galaxy Unpacked. Guys, I've used every single model of each of these phones and watches since their inception in 2019 and 2020, and even, 2015-ish with the Watch Live when it adopted Wear OS, which back then was Android Wear? Since those launches, I have wanted each and every one of these products to bring everything we finally got today. Slimmer and lighter designs, larger form factors, more powerful features, you name it, it's here, but with a couple of steps backwards. We now have a Flip going Exynos for the same money, and the Fold losing the S Pen for more money. And listen, maybe I'm overthinking this, and the new experiences will compensate for what I see as shortcomings. I mean, who knows? There's only one way to find out, so stay tuned for my full reviews coming very soon. Pre-orders begin today with a launch on July 25th, so if what you've seen so far has been enough to drive your interest, be sure to follow the links in the description to reserve your units and get some added perks for being early. Yes, these are affiliate links that help support this channel, but they are at no additional cost to you. Let me know if you agree with my assessment in the comments down below, and while you're at it, a like and subscribe would be really appreciated. Also, follow me on social media as that also supports what I'm doing, and also be sure to follow my brother from another mother, Joshua Vergara, who helped me a ton with this hands-on experience. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.